My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest tests of our time is how we earn, save, and spend the wealth that Allah has entrusted to us. Many people today place their money into regular savings accounts without realizing that the system behind those accounts is not always aligned with the laws of Allah. Sometimes, without even intending to, we fall into areas that are doubtful or even impermissible simply because everyone else is doing it. Key point: no. Ours expanded into 500 words without heading. Many people use a regular savings account because it feels simple, convenient, and familiar, but very few take a moment to reflect on what is actually happening behind the scenes. Conventional banking has normalized interest to such an extent that most people don't even pause to question it. They assume that because the bank is offering a small percentage of extra money, it must be harmless. Yet in reality, this system quietly pulls a person into something spiritually damaging. Interest is not merely a financial mechanism. It is something that carries deep consequences for the heart and soul. When a person knowingly or unknowingly benefits from interest-based growth, the effect is not only on the money itself, but on the peace and barakah that Allah places within that person's life. You may earn a few extra dollars from interest, but you may lose countless blessings in your home, in your health, in your relationships, or in your overall happiness. Sometimes people wonder why they feel a heaviness inside, why their earnings never seem to stretch, or why their financial life feels unstable. They don't realize that when money grows through impermissible means, it loses its ability to bring comfort, ease, and contentment. Moreover, regular savings accounts create an illusion of benefit. The interest you earn may seem like a gain, but it is actually a spiritual loss. Even if the amount is small, the impact on your sincerity, your trust in Allah, and your sense of purity is significant. When Allah commands us to stay away from something, it is because there is harm in it, even if that harm is not immediately visible. Just as a small drop of impurity can spoil a large container of water, a small amount of impermissible income can affect the purity of everything else you own. And once your wealth becomes contaminated, your acts of charity, your daily spending, and even the food you place on your table may lose a part of their blessing. This is why being conscious of where your money comes from is so important. There is also a psychological impact. When a person becomes comfortable with interest, even in tiny amounts, their heart slowly becomes numb. What once felt uncomfortable starts to feel normal, and soon they stop distinguishing between halal and haram. That spiritual sensitivity that once reminded them to be careful begins to fade. Wealth that should have been a means of bringing them closer to Allah becomes a means of drifting away. The heart that once valued purity becomes clouded by carelessness. This is the hidden danger of regular savings accounts. They normalize something harmful while making it look innocent. But the greatest concern is how interest drains barakah from a person's life. Barakah is not something you can measure with numbers. It is something you feel. It is when a little becomes enough, when what you have brings comfort instead of stress, and when Allah places tranquility in your heart despite the ups and downs of life. Without barakah, even a large income feels insufficient. With barakah, even a small amount feels abundant. This is why rethinking where you save your money is not just a financial decision, it is a spiritual one. Key point: no. Ash expanded into 500 words without heading. When a person chooses to save their wealth in a Sharia-compliant manner, they are not just choosing a financial system. They are choosing barakah, purity, and the pleasure of Allah. There is a profound spiritual depth behind the idea of halal saving. It is not simply about avoiding interest. It is about aligning your entire financial lifestyle with divine guidance. When wealth is earned and saved in a halal way, it carries a light within it, a sense of tranquility and assurance that cannot be purchased with numbers or profit margins. Many people don't realize that the barakah Allah places in halal wealth can outweigh any apparent financial gain from impermissible sources. If Allah blesses the little you have, it will grow, it will suffice, it will bring contentment, and it will open doors for you in ways you never expected. Barakah is not measured by calculators, it is measured by the ease, peace, and stability that enters a person's life. Sharia-compliant saving brings barakah because it is built on justice and fairness. While interest-based systems profit regardless of whether the borrower succeeds or struggles, Islamic financial principles ensure that both parties share in the outcome. This is the beauty of halal finances. It doesn't exploit, it doesn't take advantage, and it doesn't benefit from someone else's hardship. When wealth is circulated through ethical means, real investments, shared partnerships, asset-backed transactions, it carries blessings because it is rooted in honesty and fairness. Allah places barakah where justice is upheld. When you choose halal savings, you choose a system that is free from exploitation, designed to uplift communities rather than burden them. There is also a spiritual comfort that comes from knowing that your wealth is not growing from something prohibited. That comfort brings a sense of closeness to Allah. When you sleep at night knowing that every dollar you possess is earned through halal means, your heart feels at ease. You make dua with more confidence because you know your provision is pure. You spend with more sincerity because you are not sharing something mixed with impurity. Even your sadaqah carries more weight when it comes from halal sources because it reflects obedience and mindfulness. That purity transforms your relationship with wealth. It becomes a means of worship, not merely a means of survival. Furthermore, Sharia-compliant saving instills discipline within a person. It reminds you that wealth is a trust, not merely a possession. It teaches you to think carefully before placing your money somewhere. It makes you more responsible, more aware, and more connected to your faith. By choosing halal alternatives, you remind yourself that Allah is the true provider and that nothing gained through disobedience can bring lasting benefit. The peace found in halal saving is a peace that comes from choosing Allah over convenience, choosing purity over ease, and choosing long-term barakah over short-term gain. When you prioritize halal, Allah prioritizes you, and when you walk toward Him even with small steps, He opens doors that you never knew existed. Key point no. 3T. I expanded into 500 words without heading. Choosing halal financial alternatives is not only about avoiding the wrong, it is also about embracing a system that protects your wealth, your values, and your future. Many people don't realize that Sharia-compliant savings are designed with safeguards that conventional accounts simply don't offer. They operate on transparency, real assets, and mutual benefit, ensuring that your money grows in a way that is ethical and aligned with divine principles. When your wealth is connected to something real, such as tangible investments, shared ventures, or asset-backed structures, it becomes stable. It is no longer tied to the uncertainties of interest-based speculation. This stability protects you from the emotional stress of uncertainty and gives you the confidence that your wealth is safe, halal, and growing through permissible means. Halal alternatives also protect the spiritual health of your wealth. In Islam, wealth is not defined only by how much you have, but by how pure it is. Purity gives your wealth the ability to nourish your soul, protect your family, and pave the way for blessings to enter your life. Sharia-compliant savings ensure that your money stays free from unethical gains, hidden contracts, and exploitative structures. They are built upon contracts that honor the values of honesty, partnership, and accountability. These principles are not only spiritually significant, they foster trust and fairness in financial dealings. When your money is protected from impermissible growth, your conscience is also protected from guilt, worry, or doubt. This protection is priceless because the heart that is at peace is more valuable than any amount of profit. Another powerful protection offered by Sharia-compliant saving is related to the long-term stability of your financial future. Conventional accounts may seem attractive due to guaranteed interest, but in reality, they can trap you in systems where your money is being used for activities you would never support, such as unethical industries, speculative investments, or interest-based lending that harms others. Halal savings, on the other hand, ensure that your wealth contributes to something meaningful. It supports real economic growth, ethical business, and investments that uplift society rather than burden it. When your money is used for good, the reward goes beyond financial gain. It becomes a form of ongoing charity, a means through which you indirectly contribute to honesty and fairness in society. Sharia-compliant saving also protects you emotionally and mentally. Knowing that your wealth aligns with your faith removes the internal conflict that many people quietly struggle with. They may keep their money in interest-based accounts while feeling uncomfortable, guilty, or spiritually distant from Allah. That discomfort drains mental peace, even if they don't express it openly. But when you shift to halal alternatives, your heart settles. You no longer need to justify, excuse, or hide the nature of your savings. You can speak openly about your financial choices with pride, knowing they reflect your values. This clarity strengthens your faith and builds confidence in your decisions. Ultimately, halal financial alternatives protect you from a lifetime of regret. They safeguard your earnings, your peace, your spiritual connection, and your future. They remind you that true protection does not come from interest rates or market numbers. It comes from Allah's blessing upon what you own. When your wealth is protected through purity, it becomes a source of comfort in this world and a source of reward in the next. Key point no was expanded into 500 words without heading. Taking the first step toward a purified financial lifestyle begins with a sincere intention. Many people hesitate because they fear change. They feel overwhelmed by unfamiliar terms, new processes, or the effort required to shift from a conventional savings account to a halal one. But every major transformation in life begins with a single small step. Allah never asks us to become perfect overnight. He simply asks us to move in the right direction. When you make the intention to purify your wealth, even before you take action, Allah already begins opening doors for you. He places ease in your path, clarity in your heart, and barakah in your decisions. The moment you decide to leave what is doubtful and adopt what is pure, you step into a journey of spiritual growth that affects your entire life. Taking the first step means educating yourself. Spend a little time learning about the options available in your region. Islamic banks, halal profit, sharing accounts, sukuk-based savings, or Sharia-compliant digital platforms. Understanding how they work will replace confusion with confidence. You will realize that halal alternatives are not complicated or outdated. They are advanced, secure, and designed with ethical foundations. Once you learn what is permissible and beneficial, the hesitation begins to fade. You gain the courage to shift your wealth into a space that aligns with your values. Education removes fear, and fear is often the only thing stopping a person from choosing what is right. The next step is to actually make the move. It may feel uncomfortable at first because change always feels uncertain. But remember that Allah promises ease to those who strive to please Him. When you close a conventional interest-based account and open a halal one, you are not losing anything. You are gaining purity, peace, and divine protection. You are choosing long-term blessings over short-term convenience. And even if the process takes time or requires a bit of paperwork, the reward is far greater than the effort. Every form signed, every decision made, and every step taken becomes an act of worship. Taking the first step also requires trust in Allah's promise. Some people worry that they may earn less profit in a halal system. But wealth is not measured only by numbers. It is measured by barakah. A small amount of halal income can stretch further, benefit more, and bring greater peace than a large amount earned through impermissible means. When you shift to halal savings, you are saying to Allah, I trust you more than I trust this system. And Allah responds by opening doors of provision that you never imagined. True wealth is not about how much you gather. It is about how much blessing Allah places in it. Most importantly, the first step toward a purified financial life is a step towards spiritual elevation. When your wealth is halal, your dua becomes stronger. Your charity becomes more meaningful. Your heart feels lighter. Your home becomes more peaceful. You feel a sense of closeness to Allah that comes only from obedience. This journey is not just about money, it is about becoming a better person, more conscious, more mindful, and more connected to your faith. And all of it begins with one decision: to take the first step.